Good morning. My name is Norman Morris, Senior Vice President of the Louisiana Realtors Association. This morning I'm happy to be able to report from the association office about the recently concluded Louisiana legislative session, which ended at 6 p.m. on June the 4th. The Louisiana Realtors was very active on your behalf on many items that made its way through the legislative process. We were supportive of several bills that made its way through, as well as opposing others and amending several bills to be able to help you represent your clients and customers to the fullest and best professional manner, and also to help consumers of real estate have the opportunity to invest in all types of real estate property in Louisiana. I'd like to talk to you about several real estate bills that the Louisiana Realtors supported and a couple that we were not supportive of as it made their way through the process. On November 30th, as everyone remembers, Commissioner Donlin came out with an insurance bulletin that kind of called into question whether or not title insurance companies could provide continuing education for not only trade associations but also for real estate brokerage firms. The Louisiana Realtors at that point filed House Bill 601, which we felt like would allow and continue to allow these title insurance companies to provide quality continuing education for trade associations, local and state realtor organizations, as well as real estate brokerage firms. We worked closely with Commissioner Donlin's office and with the Commissioner, and at the end of the day, Commissioner Donlin agreed to revise his bulletin of November 30th and include the language that was in House Bill 601 into his newly created bulletin, which came out at the end of April. At that point, we agreed to drop efforts to move forward on House Bill 601, but knowing that we had achieved success with him including the new language into his revised bulletin. And in essence, we believe that the new bulletin will allow this. It will allow title insurance companies to continue to teach quality education to local and state realtor organizations throughout the state, and without having to charge a fee for those courses. It will also allow, we believe, title insurance companies to teach courses to individual brokerage firms, so long as they charge what the commissioner is deeming a fair market value for those courses. It also is going to allow title insurance companies to provide normal marketing activities as they've done in the past for brokerage firms and for trade associations throughout the state. The second item that the Louisiana Realtors worked on during the session was House Bill 774. And that bill dealt with when an agent leaves the employment of a broker, what information does that agent have to leave behind as it relates to the client or a transaction they're working on with the broker when they leave that employment. There was some questions that came up. The Commission, Louisiana Real Estate Commission, has also looked at this issue and debated it, and it was decided between the industry and the Louisiana Real Estate Commission that they would form a work group and take a look at this issue and go back and amend their current rules as it relates to this issue, and include such things as how do we deal with electronic data that's on computers when an agent leaves the employment of a broker, what information should stay with that broker and what information does not have to stay with that broker as an agent leaves the employment. So at the end of the day, once again, the Louisiana Realtors worked with the Real Estate Commission, and they decided to form this work group to take a look at this and amend their rules during 2012. So at that point, the Louisiana Realtors dropped its efforts to move forward with House Bill 774 in light of the new work group that's going to come together between industry and the Commission to solve this problem and make it clear what documents that an agent must leave behind with a broker as it relates to a client's transaction, and what items can an agent take with them as personal property as they leave the employment of that broker. Appraisal management companies, as everyone knows, is a very hot topic in Louisiana. It was a creation out of the Dodd-Frank Act on the federal level, and we knew, working with the appraisal industry, that we needed to go into current state law and tighten that state law up to give the state board more ability to regulate these entities as they practice and conduct appraisals in the state of Louisiana. House Bill 1014 and House Bill 823 ultimately passed, and basically these instruments will allow the appraisal board more jurisdiction and more ability to regulate in a strong manner the activities of appraisal management companies. It will require these appraisal management companies to have geographic competence, as well as competence in doing appraisals on specific pieces of property. It will also require these appraisal management companies to disclose their fees as they're doing the appraisal throughout the appraisal process to the consumers. We believe these two instruments are a win-win, not only for consumers in Louisiana that purchase real estate and utilize the services of the appraisal management companies, but it will also allow the State Appraisal Board to make sure these appraisal management companies are conducting their business in a proper manner, providing good quality appraisals for consumers in the state of Louisiana. A couple of bills that the Louisiana Realtors opposed during the legislative session was Senate Bill 425. It would prohibit anyone from sending a consumer of real estate to a specific settlement service provider, i.e. a title company, etc. And that sounds good on the surface, but the Louisiana Realtors, along with its leadership, did a tremendous amount of research on this bill, and at the end of the day, after all the research was done and all the experts were talked to, we felt like this would be a disadvantage of consumers in the real estate transaction. And to give you a couple examples of why, the way this bill was written, it would have kept consumers from being able to get discounts as they make their way through the process and be able for those consumers to save money throughout the process. We also looked at the way Senate Bill 425 was written, and in many ways it would have conflicted or potentially conflicted with the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, a federal law that governs all of the settlement service providers in the real estate transaction. So at the end of the day, the Louisiana Realtors, along with the Louisiana Home Builders and the Louisiana Bankers Association, felt like this would have been a detriment to real estate consumers in the state of Louisiana as written, and therefore opposed this legislation. The legislation never was scheduled for a hearing in committee and ultimately died on June the 4th when the session adjourned at 6 p.m. The second item that the Louisiana Realtors opposed was Senate Bill 393, and this bill would have extended the time for non-payment of rent for a tenant to extend out the time that he or she is living in a property that they are renting. This was not a good bill for landowners, for individuals that own rental properties, and it would have basically given the right of a tenant to ask for a new trial based on the non-payment of rent. And we felt like that this could have dragged on the process of a tenant to be able to live in a unit without paying rent for 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 months, and which could cause tremendous problems not only for the landowner, but also at the end of the day, if this bill had passed, could have cost more in the terms of higher rents for consumers as well. So the Louisiana Realtors and the Louisiana Home Builders opposed this bill in the House committee, and it was defeated in the committee and never made its way to the House floor. A couple of items I want to bring you up to date on that were very important, we believe, to real estate practitioners and consumers. Representative Lance Harris of Alexandria, Louisiana, shepherded a bill through the process that we supported that would make convicted felons of copper thieves not only pay more in civil fines, but it puts more of a criminal penalty on these individuals that are convicted of stealing copper. We believe this is a win-win because obviously every time a copper thief hits a structure, it costs the owner of that piece of property tremendous amounts of dollars, heartache, and etc. to get their properties fixed. Second item that was a pilot program for Rapides Parish, and we believe that if this works well in Rapides Parish, it may be something to look that we do statewide for all the parishes. But at least for this year, Rapides Parish property owners are going to have the opportunity to pay their estimated property taxes on a quarterly basis, which allows them to be able to budget better throughout the year, where they at the end of the year don't have to come up with just a tremendous amount of dollars to pay their property taxes that are owed at the end of the year. So on behalf of Louisiana Realtors, we want to thank every realtor in the state of Louisiana for your conscious efforts, for your tireless work, and for your just truly great grassroots support in reaching out to local, state, and federal elected officials to be able to be the voice for your consumers out there, because look, your consumers need a voice, and you as a realtor carry that voice for real estate consumers statewide. So at the end of the day, we want to say thanks, and more thanks to all realtors out there in the state of Louisiana for making our legislative agenda a huge success in 2012. Take care. If you have any questions, you can certainly call me, Norman Morris, here at the Louisiana Association of Realtors offices in Baton Rouge, 800-266-8538, or shoot me an email at norman@larealtors.org. Thank you. Have a great summer, and we will talk soon.